James Pearce named co-defensive lineman of the week. Dee Williams named co-special teams player of the week. That leads us to today's tough question. And today's tough question is right now.
Today's tough question. Take a side. Take a stand. The Dave Hooker Show, a presentation of offthehooksports.com.
Basically the halfway mark. You got a bye behind you. You got a tough road to hoe. So I'm going to ask today's tough question as this, and it's pretty easy. Who has the biggest impact on all of Tennessee's football team for the remainder of the season? And I'm going to go first because I'm going to go ahead and tell you it's James Pearce. And here's my reasoning behind that. I think he's got 2 strip sacks in him at least. I think he is a phenomenal player that's been compared to Leonard Little and former players like Spencer Riley and Fred White have backed me on that. I think he is the guy that Tennessee leans on to win games that perhaps they shouldn't, which would be an Alabama or a Georgia, and close out the season, the second half, winning games that they should, going away. So I think of all the players out there, it'll be James Pearce. I would have said Brew McCoy before he got hurt. So, John, we know that Pearce wins co-defensive player of the week awards by the SEC. Dee Williams, which they refuse to play on offense, co-special teams player of the award. Who has the biggest impact in terms of wins and losses for the remainder of the season? And if you want to, you can even go negative in that Joe Milton might not play well in a game and cost them 1 or 2 losses. So what say you, John? Then I'll go to you, Caleb.
I thought you were going to compare James Pearce to Cam Newton. I'll go with the player that I think's had the most impact on the first half of the season, and that to me is Cooper Mays. The difference in Tennessee's run game and its overall offensive line play with Cooper Mays is honestly pretty stunning. Tennessee just ran for 232 yards against one of the best run defenses in the country. Alabama couldn't run the ball against Texas A&M. Nobody else has, really. That Miami threw the ball spectacularly against the Aggies. But Cooper Mays, the difference he makes is just, I guess I'm playing to your show because he's a member of your team here. But I just think the difference Cooper Mays makes is tremendous.
Mays here. Hit like and subscribe.
Thank you, Cooper. I will do that as soon as I get off the show. I think
you can do it now.
Oh, okay. James Pearce. So he plays like somebody that should be playing at Alabama, Georgia. He's the kind of player that Tennessee is accustomed to playing defense against them that just absolutely wrecks their offense. So yeah, he's a terrific player, and I can certainly see why you would single him out.
All right, Caleb, how about you? Who has the biggest impact in the second half of the season? I should have gone Cooper because he said this for me.
Cooper Mays here. Hit like and subscribe.
Thanks, Coop. What do you got there, Caleb?
Well, I want to for my OCD purposes, and since we mentioned him, I want to say Dee Williams, but I just can't because they're not going to use him all on offense. And how many times are you going to get a chance to run one back for a touchdown? So between James Pearce and Cooper Mays, I got to side with John, Dave. It's Cooper Mays. Because I don't think I got to be honest. I thought Tennessee's run game was highly overrated heading into the Texas A&M game because Cooper Mays had played one game, and before that, the only team that was legitimate with any legitimate run defense they played was Florida, and they got stuffed. So the question was, can their run defense play well, or can their run game, can their run offense play well against a good run defense when Cooper Mays is in the game? And they showed me they could. And they showed me this is a legit run game. I don't think they don't win that game on Saturday without Cooper Mays. And there's no debating that. Mostly because one of the things that was missed in the Texas A&M game was they didn't actually score on a lot of possessions. Obviously, they only had one offensive touchdown. And really the offense only scored 10 points legitimately. The other 10 were set up by turnovers and a punt return. But they stayed on the field a lot of times and they moved the ball. And that was a huge help to the defense in stopping the run a lot of times. So I'm going Cooper Mays.
So, guys, let me throw this out there. And maybe I should have gone Cooper, because I don't think Tennessee beats A&M without Cooper, to be real honest with you. So, who's third? If it's not Cooper, if it's not James Pearce, who's right behind that? I would have to say most impactful is Joe Milton, but I don't mean it in a positive way.
That's a good question. I think there's a drop off there. I think Omari Thomas is playing well on defense. I might kind of lean toward him because it's not just James Pearce. I mean, the overall surge in that line, and you saw it against Texas A&M. Max Johnson, Texas A&M quarterback, who I give a lot of credit, as I did Spencer Rattler, for simply surviving a Saturday in Neyland Stadium with that rush. Just overall surge. I think Omari Thomas is a really good player, so I might go with him offensively. Maybe Jalen Wright. I think Jalen Wright is now making plays. I mean, I thought of him as a solid SEC running back, but now I see him as more than that. I saw him as a guy who could get what the defense gave him, what his offensive line gave him, but now he's making plays, he's breaking tackles, he's got really good running instincts. So I really raised my opinion of him. And so either one of those guys, I guess, would be my pick.
Yeah, and to the message board, Travis says team fell apart without Cooper. That's true. If I could change my vote, it'd probably be that. And look at this. I never thought we'd see this. Kamal Haddon gets a vote. We were absolutely beating him up, and suddenly he's become one of the better cornerbacks in the league. Is that too strong?
Yes.
Yes. Yes,
You're not a Kamal Haddon fan, John?
No, I mean, I just don't think he's one of the better cornerbacks in the league. He's playing better, but I wouldn't consider him one of the better quarterbacks in the league. A lot of good cornerbacks in this league.
I think
it does reflect what a pass rush can do for your secondary.
Yep,
it does.
Absolutely.
And we also have to take one of the things we have to do. Cooper Mays' play was more impressive than the pass rush last week, because we have to remember Texas A&M has a right tackle, Chase Basantis, I think, who probably should just hang it up and never play football again. The way he's looked the last 2 weeks, I mean, it's the worst play I've ever seen by a blindside tackle in the.
So you're saying he could? Are you saying he couldn't start for South Carolina's offensive line?
Ouch. No, I don't think he could. He was horrible. You know what his PFF grade was on this over the weekend, John?
No.
23. 23. You know what it was the weekend before? 17. That's on a scale to 100.
I hope his family doesn't subscribe to that.
Wow. If John, let me ask you this. James Pearce will win more games for the Vols than Joe Milton will lose more games for the Vols. That's toughie thinking.
Yeah, I just think it's a really odd question. I don't think of it as being tough, just an odd question. Comparing a defensive player to the quarterback. I think right now, after watching the A&M game, I would say that that Joe Milton, if he plays the rest of the way, would lose more games than James Pearce wins.